phones up. We had 23,000 calls last week, or a week and a half ago, because we have a computer now that monitors it. It's not just a regular phone line, it's digital. 23,000 plus calls. We took about 100. So those were powerful calls. We're going to have Joe Biggs, Darren McBreen, Rob Dew, Leanne McAdoo, Margaret Howell, Kit Daniels, whoever else wants to pop in, our amazing crew. They'll be here. I'll be here a little bit as well, but I kind of dominate things, so if I'm here, I'll be taking over. We've got the debate commission president up there right now, who admitted they turned Trump's mic off in the first debate. So all of this is going on. We're 10 minutes out right now. INFOWARS.com/show has our own feed, backup feeds. We have a Facebook feed going as well, which isn't an HD feed, but it's great to spread because that's something that's obviously viral. And my God, last time I checked, it was 400,000 viewers just on that feed. So that is definitely a big deal there. So check it out. We've got our feed, the YouTube feed, the Facebook feed, Right Side's feed. If you don't want to hear my commentary, I don't care who you get it from, just as long as it's independent media, Infowars.com. And we now have punched up. I see we have the Right Side feed in front of me. Let's go to the debate commissioner here for just a moment to see the warm-up. 9 minutes out right now. Let's fade up the debate commissioner. Again, be activists, folks, to bring down the dinosaur media. Send this link via email, call friends and family, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Post our link, Infowars.com/show. Let's go and hear what the commission has to say.
It's a great pleasure to be with all of you tonight. I want to tell you a little bit about the Commission on Presidential Debates. It is important to note it is a nonpartisan organization, nonprofit. We don't receive any support from
Republicans and
the government, from the political parties, or from any public entities. The support for the debates comes from people who just...
We've studied this. This commission hasn't been as bad as some, but I'm normally wanting to get third parties in. This time, the Libertarians got taken over by the Democrats. And then Jill Stein's good, but not getting any attention. The liberals have ignored her. I mean, and by good, I mean she's real, she's honest. She says Hillary wants World War III. Don't support, Hillary. If you're not going to vote for me, vote for Trump. She doesn't want to kill her, family. She's smart. But when they say they're independent, the damn Republican Democratic parties make up the commissioners on the commission. There's not a Libertarian or a Green Party on that commission. So that's not true. So that's why we're analyzing it. Let's go back to it. Oh, yay.
Now, in addition to that, the Commission participates in a lot of educational work. The primary mission of the Commission is to help educate the American people about the choices that we make as citizens when we vote. So we have a number of programs that we work, a number of partnerships. In the last 2 years, we've especially concentrated on social media because of changes in the media itself, the importance of the internet, social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Google, other .com entities.
Okay, so this is the dinosaur media. I mean, this guy is here talking about their stupid commission. It's hijacked the debates. The candidates ought to agree on public debates that are happening for 2, 3, 4 hours and just battle each other. You get 2 minutes, you get 2 minutes, you get 2 minutes. Okay, like the Lincoln Douglas, okay? These are not debates where you got some fact checker where the mainstream media is like God. Why don't we just elect then, these so-called reporters like Anderson Cooper or like, the NBC guy that literally screwed the pooch in front of everybody, Lester Holt. I mean, or Rat Lady, whatever her name is. I mean, why don't we just have them as our presidents or prime ministers or leaders if they're the fact checker, fact totem that tells us if we're hearing the truth? This is a load of bull. We didn't have fact checkers till 2012. What the hell did Mitt Romney let Candy Crowley in, who got caught lying about everything? I mean, there's no end to the arrogance, the bravado, the chutzpah, whatever you want to call this crap. And I didn't mean to go after the commission here, but that's why we're analyzing it. I mean, this is just a load of horse manure. We're nonpartisan. What the hell does that mean? We're not affiliated with a political party. You're run by party hacks. Half are Republican, half are Democrats. This is what you do. Stop lying. Obamacare is not free. You are coming after our guns. There is a world government. Our government is funding radical Islam. We are in trouble. By the way, briefly, we're going to carry this pretty much. Well, it's going to be commercial free, but I'm going to be giving limited analysis, Infowars.com/show. They're coming after the media. They've said it. They have deadlock in the Federal Elections Commission and the FCC to restrict the internet, restrict talk radio, because the old dinosaur media cannot survive. They're dying. In fact, most of them are already gone. There's still a few dinosaurs, like crocodiles and alligators are basically, the crocodilia family is even older than the dinosaurs. So technically there are creatures around that, were dinosaurs. But for all intents and purposes, the main kingdom of dinosaurs is already extinct. Look at these mummies. And I'm not against old people, but I mean, this is who thinks they control us and have a few bigwigs up that nobody's even watching, you know, right now to hear all this crap. And so they're coming after you and your choices. They've handed the internet over to the UN 19 days ago. I mean, they're coming. We know this. So spread the word, grow the new independent true media, the patriot media, the pro-liberty media, the pro-prosperity media in their face. And believe me, the world is hungry. The world knows the truth. The world knows what's happening. And you fund operations like this. We have free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com right now. We had 25% off on the game-changing nootropic I'm on right now, Brain Force. Some of the compounds in a prescription in Europe. We've got a new Trump is my president shirt that's red, so you can wear it, you know, out on election day to show your numbers. Or just wear a red shirt. Everybody's doing that, but we have that. We have the Hillary for Prison shirt. Look at all the memes you've coined by supporting us. That's $9.95 right now. Free shipping, everything in the store, InfoWarsStore.com, and support the tip of the spear. Money is what it takes to fund this. It's why I support Right Side, why I support Breitbart, why I support Drudge, why I support all these other small, medium, gigantic organizations that fight for liberty, because we don't hang together. We'll all hang separate. Here, let's hear who this guy is up there that they've got before the debate commission. Here he is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just the day before that, on Monday, the governor was on campus, Governor Sandoval, signing into law the new stadium that the university will be able to use and a much expanded and renovated convention center for Rossi as well. So it's quite a week for UNLV. And then tonight, the presidential debate. And I'll tell you, what's the most special for us about the debate is what this does for our students. We've got a few hundred students
that
working
have no
here
future.
in the debate
90%
hall,
of the jobs
over
will
in
be
the
totally
Cox
worthless.
Pavilion, in the Media Center, and in Spin Alley.
Go pay $100,000, $200,000 for your degree. It's worthless.
Working the debate
or
all week
crap.
long, all across
God,
campus.
who are these people?
We've got faculty that created new courses for
By
the
the way,
debate
people
for this
think
fall.
I'm mean.
We've
Listen,
got a
I'm not.
national lecture series.
The globalists know this is a predatory system that's anti-human, and it counts on your confidence in it. I'm confident in Americana, and I'm confident in free market, and I'm confident in low taxes. They've written the whole tax law to have some of the highest taxes in the world to screw us, and I'm done. And I don't need any more candy asses up on TV telling me how great something is. It's time to break through the decorum and being calm and being nice and going along with the system. That's why we're screwed. We're here to break the trance, get people out of their comfort zone, restore the republic. Hillary is openly getting ready to steal the election. They're federalizing it. They've got videos all over the country of the Democrats bragging. They're already getting people to vote, and early voting 10 times a piece. Project Veritas up on InfoWars.com. I'm angry, and I'm not putting up with it. They've tried to rig the whole thing, and this is a referendum against it. But we have only begun to fight. Make no mistake. Now let's see what this guy's got to say.
Thank you for all of that. Las Vegas is the only city that evolved to host people. We've been doing that for many, many years, and we continue to refine what we do and go to the next level. Last year, we attracted more than 42 million visitors who generated $50 billion of economic impact for Las Vegas and created 336,000 jobs. So that's very important for the health of our city, the state, and also the country. And the special events, we are the special events capital of the world. And we have
It's all like a
all
PR
types of
ad.
events here.
The networks aren't covering it for 2 minutes, but these guys want to be on the alternative media, so they are. You're seeing some behind the scenes, and he's just trying to get jobs into Vegas, whatever. You know, my biggest problem with Trump is he's involved in the casinos, but I get that's part of hotels and golf courses, so he's not out to get the country. He wants prosperity. He's like a hospitality type guy. So I could turn a blind eye to that. I'm not a lesser of two evils guy. It's just that the globalists are out to get us. They hate Trump because he knows America's being given a one-sided deal. And I'm not a hypocrite. You know, I'm not a gambler. I've been to Vegas doing TV shows and stuff. I've gone and played slot machines and played blackjack, you know. So I'm not going to sit there and piss on Trump over that. Just like if he'd have been a hypocrite over, you know, women and stuff, I would be mad. Like, I'm as holier than thou guy. But he wasn't. And then Hillary, meanwhile, is 1,000 times worse. That's why I'm so concerned. We're 30 seconds out. Spread the word. Be part of the info war. It's having a huge effect. Hillary's attacking us. Obama, we're shaking him up. We're 15 seconds out. Infowars.com/show for our feed and a bunch of other feeds. If you don't want me chiming in, we got feeds on the site. All right, let's go to the Republican establishment guy.
So
watch him tonight.
Be quiet. Let me, as a show of hands, how many of you have been to a general election debate between the two presidential nominees? Raise your hands. Wow. Okay, so you know the drill, and those of you who don't, I'm going to repeat
the drill. Is you can cheer for Hillary,
really
not for
in some of the
Trump.
primary debates, and I participated.
It's going to be 2 against 1, right?
people would hoot and holler.
Fox is in the bag for Hillary.
Bad, but this is different. One of these two people, 3 weeks from yesterday, is going to be the next president of the United States. It's very important for them
18 days, folks.
to be able to make their
Tomorrow.
case. It's very important for the millions of people who are going to be watching out there to be able to listen to them
on the economy,
make their case. I'm sure in the
military.
course of the evening, you're going to hear your candidate say something absolutely wonderful, and you're going to want to cheer. Don't. I'm sure in the course of the next hour and a half, you're going to hear the other person, the other candidate, say something that you don't like. You want to make some noise. Don't. Just remember, you're not a participant here.
Problem is, conservatives follow rules.
I'm going to sit
Liberals
here and get
don't.
ready at 3 o'clock.
So
sharp.
cheer.
We're going to see, you're going to hear in the back there on the platforms, all the networks beginning to do their coverage. 30 seconds before I'll give you notice that we're going to start, we'll introduce the candidates, applause then. At the end of the debate, you can applaud all you want.
Isn't it cool
but in
to have
the
a clean
meantime,
feed? Look, no
silence,
network feeds on that. See what we give you, folks?
blessed silence.
No network feed. This is our feed right now, Infowars.com. This is what we're building. We're going to go next level this year, folks, and next year. Hundreds of TV stations are already starting to pick it up. It's huge because people now know the InfoWar was right about world. Oh, look at Bill. Oh, how you doing there, buddy? I'm a friendly guy. But what a piece of trash. These people are such criminals. They've sold us out so bad. I mean, get mad at them. Stop submitting. My God, look at WikiLeaks. Now, the mainstream media won't cover it, but talks about Trump and some 11-year-old potties talk. And by the way, the author of some book 15 years ago recorded a bunch of stuff with Trump, too. Out of context. Get ready for it. No, it's the establishment. So what? I'm out with my buddies. If you take me, you might, I mean, not as stuff Trump's saying, but stuff like it. I mean, nobody's perfect. Difference is we're not stealing the Haitian money. Difference is we're not trying to start war with Russia. Difference is we're not up here on some holier-than-thou deal. I mean, I'm ashamed of myself sometimes, but if I stub my toe, I say GD. I don't want to. I repent to God. God knows I love him. But the point is, Trump's an outsider. The whole power structure's against him. This is so obvious. They always start 3, 4, 5 minutes into it now. That way the networks get their ads, get their promos, get all their stuff. But the networks are a joke. The average network out there is going to have a couple million viewers. The Fox is going to have 30, 40, 50 million. I hope more than that. But here we are with millions, over 2.5 million right now, tuning in one way or another just on the streams I can look at Infowars.com. That's why I'm saying Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. So then after the debate, people can hear our analysis, hear about the TPP, hear about the New World Order, hear about Hillary's executive order she's planning in WikiLeaks to ban the guns, to appoint 5 to 4 Supreme Court justices to try to steal the election. All of it is at Infowars.com. We're covering it. DrudgeReport.com, Breitbart.com, WND.com, DailyCaller.com. Is Daily Caller as hardcore as they are? No, but they're pro-gun, pro-free market, and they're not out to screw the country. Is Breitbart as hardcore? They're starting to be. I'm very proud of the fact that we're moving the Overton window where we've radicalized everyone, as the White House admits. Yeah, you're radically trying to take our guns, set up world government. We're going to radically fight your ass. I'm not a radical. I'm about as straight-laced as it gets. But you start trying to take my freedoms away, I'm going to come after you. So much is coming out. And I'm not a big government promoter, but I got to tell you, on average, it's been people in government that have been exposing this stuff. It's not the Russians. D.C. leaks all of it's right out of our own government. Patriots that know what's happening, like Mr. Snowden, that are exposing what's going on. And so are we natural allies with Russia against radical Islam that surrounds Russia, even worse than us, 10 times, 20 times worse? Are we natural allies with the UK pulling out of the euro, with which they were asked to enter? Are we natural allies to want to have prosperity? I don't care where you're from in the world. You want to come here, you want to work hard, you want to be an American, you want to go to shooting ranges and own property and be productive, man, I don't care what color you are, I love you. If you want to be some bitchy person thinking you got screwed over and come to America and say you didn't get something free, well, then why the hell did you come here? I've got all the George Soros emails when they want to create race war and division in this country. That evil Nazi collaborator needs to be brought to justice. I'm Alex Jones. This is live coverage of the 2016 final debate.
Thomas and Mack Center at the University of
Final
Nevada,
showdown.
Las Vegas.
Spread the word. Here we are.
I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News. And I welcome you to the third and final of the 2016 presidential debates between Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Donald J. Trump. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The commission has designed the format, 6 roughly 15-minute segments with 2-minute answers to the first question, then open discussion for the rest of each segment. Both campaigns have agreed to those rules.
10 to 1, she has to sit
For the
down.
record, I decided the topics and the questions in each topic. None of those questions has been shared with the commission or the two candidates.
Bravo, Sierra.
The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers, boos, or other interruptions, so we and you can focus on what the candidates have to say. No noise except right now, as we welcome the Democratic nominee for
needs
president,
to come out and hit her hard and talk directly to the people.
Nominee for president,
all right, I'm going to be quiet now.
Trump.
Go ahead. Give us putting on it. Folks, spread the word. Be part of the InfoWars. Infowars.com/show. So they don't just get mainstream media at the end of this. Let's have 5 million tonight. Please do it. You're awesome.
Secretary Clinton, Mr. Trump, welcome. Let's get right to it. The first topic is the Supreme Court. You both talked briefly about the court in the last debate, but I want to drill down on this because the next president will almost certainly have at least one appointment and likely or possibly 2 or 3 appointments, which means that you will, in effect, determine the balance of the court for what could be the next quarter century.
And we have the horrible leftist starting.
Where do you want to see the court take the country?
Back to the Constitution.
And secondly, what's your view on how the Constitution should be interpreted? Do the founders' words mean what they say, or is it a living document to be applied flexibly according to changing circumstances? In this segment, Secretary Clinton, you go first. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thanks to UNLV for hosting us. You know, I think when we talk about the Supreme Court, it really raises
the
central
makeup kicked to
issue in this election.
Like a clown.
Namely, what kind of country are we going to be?
It was better than last time,
What kind of opportunities will we provide for our citizens? What kind of rights will Americans have? And I feel strongly that the Supreme Court needs to stand on the side of the American people, not on the side of the powerful corporations
like when you robbed
and
Haiti.
the wealthy. For me, that means that we need a Supreme Court that will stand up on behalf of women's rights, on behalf of the rights of the LGBT community, that will stand up and say no to Citizens United, a decision that has undermined the election system in our country.
You let George Soros give unlimited, but nobody else can.
Dark, unaccountable money to come into our election.
She runs the foundation, dark, unaccountable money. What the hell?
About these issues and others that will be before the Supreme Court. But I feel that at this point in our country's history, it is important that we not reverse marriage equality, that we not reverse Roe v. Wade, that we stand up against Citizens United, we stand up for the rights of people in the workplace, that we stand up and basically say the Supreme Court should represent all of us.
We stand up and say, we've wrecked America, let's finish the job.
And the kind of people that I would be looking to nominate to the court would be in the great tradition of standing up to the powerful, standing up on behalf of our rights as Americans.
More weirdo comments.
And I look forward to having that opportunity. I would hope that the Senate would do its job and confirm the nominee that President Obama has sent to them.
So you can finish gang raping
America. That's the way the Constitution fundamentally should operate. The President nominates, and then the Senate
WikiLeaks has her chief of staff talking about wet work.
But they go forward with the process.
Secretary Clinton, thank you. Mr. Trump, same question. Where do you want to see the court take the country, and how do you believe the Constitution should be interpreted?
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you, and thank you, everybody. The Supreme Court, it's what it's all about. Our country is it's just so imperative that we have the right justices. Something happened recently where Justice Ginsburg made some very, very inappropriate statements toward me and toward a tremendous number of people, many, many millions of people that I represent. And she was forced to apologize, and apologize she did. But these were statements that should never, ever have been made. We need a Supreme Court that, in my opinion, is going to uphold the Second Amendment and all amendments, but the Second Amendment, which is under absolute siege. I believe if my opponent should win this race, which I truly don't think will happen, we will have a Second Amendment which will be a very, very small replica of what it is right now. But I feel that it's absolutely important that we uphold because of the fact that it is under such trauma. I feel that the justices that I am going to appoint, and I've named 20 of them, the justices that I'm going to appoint will be pro-life. They will have a conservative bent. They will be protecting the Second Amendment. They are great scholars in all cases, and they're people of tremendous respect. They will interpret the Constitution the way the founders wanted it interpreted, and I believe that's very, very important. I don't think we should have justices appointed that decide what they want to hear. It's all about the Constitution.
You don't like America, go to North Korea.
And so important, the Constitution, the way it was meant to be.
That's what made us America.
And those are the people that I will appoint.
Mr. Trump, thank you. We now have about 10 minutes for an open discussion. I want to focus on two issues that, in fact, by the justices that you name, could end up changing the existing law of the land. First is one that you mentioned, Mr. Trump, and that is guns. Secretary Clinton, you said last year, and let me quote, "The Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment." And now, in fact, in the 2008
By the way,
Heller
folks,
case,
my audio
the court
crew
ruled
is
that
analyzing
there
the
is a
feed.
constitutional right to bear arms.
Trump has half the audio Hillary does. They do that to make him sound weak. They turn it down where he sounds lispy. So it's not personable. This is a psychological warfare tactic. Go back to it. We've caught them.
First of all,
we
I
have the
support
feeds,
the
though. We
Second
have the
Amendment.
computers.
I lived in Arkansas for 18 wonderful years.
See, I
I
have this big
represented
mic, so I sound
upstate New
personable,
York.
so I'm
I
here with you.
understand and respect
Here,
the
checking with his
tradition
mic.
of gun ownership. It goes back to the founding of our country.
You want a
But I
ban,
also
you
believe
liar. It's
that
in the
there can be
WikiLeaks,
and
you
must be
frickin' lying
reasonable
whore.
regulation. Because I support the Second Amendment doesn't
Goddamn
mean
liar,
that I want
excuse me.
people who shouldn't have guns to be able to threaten you, kill you, or members of your family.
Yes, only you get
And
guns,
so
right?
When I think about
Like you and
what
Michael
we need
Moore,
to
you
do,
pig.
we have 33,000 people a year who die from guns.
A couple 100,000 from cars and 500,000 from flesh-eating bacteria. But you hype it up like it's the end of the world, you monster. And most of the deaths are in Democrat cities run by cesspools like you frickin' witch.
That are the kind of reforms that would make a difference that are not in any way conflicting with the Second Amendment. You mentioned the Heller decision.
I have come to enslave America. My name is Hillary Rodham Clinton. Give me the firearms and I will keep you safe. I want the guns, not so I can dominate you, but so I can be your friend.
What Columbia was trying to do was to
give me your guns. I love you.
Guns. And so they wanted people with guns to safely store them. And the court didn't accept that reasonable regulation, but they've accepted many others.
Like we did in Russia in 1917.
People's lives and
we are Trotskyites and we hate you. I love Saul Alinsky. I'm a monster.
Debate coalition.
I stole the money from Haiti.
Of votes on questions to ask here, and this was.
Sorry, I said I'd shut up, didn't I? We have feeds without me at INFOWARS.com.
How will you ensure the Second Amendment is protected? You just heard Secretary Clinton's answer. Does she persuade you that while you may disagree on regulation, that in fact she supports a Second Amendment right to bear arms?
Well, the D.C. versus Heller decision was very strongly, and she was extremely angry about it. I watched. I mean, she was very, very angry when upheld. And Justice Scalia was so involved, and it was a well-crafted decision. But Hillary was extremely upset, extremely angry, and people that believe in the Second Amendment and believe in it very strongly were very upset with what she had to say.
Well, let me bring in Secretary Clinton. Were you extremely upset?
Well, I was upset because, unfortunately, dozens of toddlers
Unfortunately, dozens of toddlers who were unable to abort did not get sent off to the meat factory.
Not everyone who
unfortunately, I have bodyguards, and I want your gun, slave. I'm an elitist. I hate black people. That's what she says on tape.
There's no doubt that I respect the Second Amendment, that I also believe there's an individual right to bear arms. That is not in conflict with sensible,
on a blue moon with an Easter bunny, you can have a gun.
Regulation. And, you know, look, I understand.
You want our guns, like I told Piers Morgan. Stop lying. We have your damn emails.
The gun lobby's on his side. They're running millions of dollars of ads against me.
Only thing we got left.
Because what I would like to see is for people to come together and say, of course,
sensible, and then every year, sensible, till we're like Chicago and all the guns are taken.
It tries to save some of these 33,000 lives that we lose every year.
Let me bring Mr. Trump back into that, because
12,000 are suicide.
Oppose any limits on assault weapons, any limits on high-capacity magazines.
That means ban semi-auto.
A national right to carry.
Here's the Fox Weasel.
Why, sir?
Well, let me just tell you, before we go any further, in Chicago, which has the toughest gun laws in the United States, probably you could say by far, they have more gun violence than any other city.
Well done.
So we have the toughest laws, and you have tremendous gun violence. I am a very strong supporter of the Second Amendment, and I don't know if Hillary was saying it in a sarcastic manner, but I'm very proud to have the endorsement of the NRA, and it's the earliest endorsement they've ever given to anybody who ran for president. So I'm very honored by all of that. We are going to appoint justices. This is the best way to help the Second Amendment. We are going to appoint justices that will feel very strongly about the Second Amendment, that will not do damage to the Second Amendment.
Yes.
Well, let's pick up on another issue which divides you and the justices that whoever ends up winning this election appoints could have a dramatic effect there, and that's the issue of abortion.
Right.
Mr. Trump, you're pro-life, but I want to ask you specifically, do you want the court, including the justices that you will name, to overturn Roe v. Wade, which includes, in fact states, a woman's right to abortion?
Well, if that would happen, because I am pro-life and I will be appointing pro-life judges, I would think that that will go back to the individual states.
Yes.
But I'm asking you specifically, would you like
If they overturned it, it'll go back to the states.
But what I'm asking you, sir, is do you want to see the court overturn? You just said you want to see the court protect the Second Amendment. Do you want to see the court overturn Roe
Well,
v.
if
Wade?
we put another 2 or perhaps 3 justices on, that's really what's going to be, that will happen. And that'll happen automatically, in my opinion, because I am putting pro-life.
Stop using abortion as
justices on the court.
contraception.
I will say this.
The cases
it
of
will
medical
go back
rape,
to the
whatever,
states,
but just
and
stop
the
it.
states will then make a determination.
He curses us to kill our
Well,
kids, folks.
I strongly
It's a damn
support
curse.
Roe v. Wade, which
Damn child
guarantees
sacrifice.
a constitutional right to a woman to make the most intimate, most difficult in many cases decisions
doubles her
about her health
cancer
care
rates.
that one can imagine. And in this case, it's not only about Roe v. Wade. It is about what's happening right now in America.
Tell you're a
So
big
many
stinking
states
pile of evil.
are putting very stringent regulations on women that block
On
them
women.
from
Oh, you care
exercising
so
that
much.
choice, to the extent that they are defunding Planned Parenthood, which, of course,
Was a
provides
eugenics
all kinds
operation
of
that Hitler
cancer
modeled
screenings
himself
and
after.
other
I mean-
benefits for women in our country.
I don't judge women for abortions,
Donald
ladies.
said
You're not.
he's
If
in
you did it,
favor
it's
of
okay.
defunding
The
Planned
point is the
Parenthood.
agenda
He
is
even
death.
supported shutting the government down to defund Planned Parenthood. I will defend Planned Parenthood. I will defend Roe v. Wade,
Which was the
and I will
birth control
defend
league of
women's rights
Nazis.
to make their own health care decisions.
Secretary
And we have come too far to have that turn back now. And indeed, he said women should be punished, that there should be some form of punishment for women who obtain abortions. And I could just not be more opposed
What
to
about
that
punishment for
kind of
China?
I'm going to give you a
Killing
chance to respond,
babies
but
that are
I
already
wanna ask
born,
you,
Hillary.
Secretary
You
Clinton,
support
I wanna
that.
explore how far you believe the right to abortion goes. You have been quoted as saying that the fetus has no constitutional rights.
Peter Singer wants
You
up to age
also
3.
voted against a ban on late-term partial birth
He's been
abortion.
fair so far, folks.
Why?
I got to give it to him.
Because Roe v. Wade very clearly
I'm going to
sets
stop
out
talking now.
that there can be regulations on abortion so long as the life and the health of the mother are taken into account. And when I voted as a senator, I did not think that that was the case. The kinds of cases that fall at the end of pregnancy are often the most heartbreaking, painful decisions for families to make. I have met with women who, toward the end of their
9-month-old
pregnancy,
babies get 20
get the worst
grand
news
in
one
organ
could get,
harvesting.
that their
At least get
health
the money,
is in
mothers.
jeopardy if they
You grew it.
continue
You
to
get the
carry
cash.
to term.
Hillary
or
don't
that
want to know about
something
that big
terrible has
money she
happened or
makes
just been
off the
discovered,
goodies.
about the pregnancy. I do not think the United States government should be stepping in and making those most personal of decisions. So you can regulate if you are doing so with the life and the health of the mother taken into account.
Mr. Trump, your reaction, and particularly on this issue of late-term partial birth
Well,
abortion.
I think it's terrible. If you go with what Hillary is saying, in the 9th month, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb of the mother just prior to the birth of the baby.
But it's racist.
Now, you can say that that's okay, and Hillary can say that that's okay, but it's not okay with me. Because based on what she's saying and based on where she's going and where she's been, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month. on the final day.
Guys,
And
Google. They went up to age 3.
Well,
That's the
that
liberal
is not
thing.
what happens in these cases, and using that kind of scare rhetoric is just terribly
Scare rhetoric?
unfortunate. You should meet with some of the women that I've met with, women I've known over the course of my life. This is one of the worst possible
Like the
choices
Haitians
that
you robbed,
any
or
woman
the
in
women
her
that got killed by
family has
jihadis?
to
I mean, this
make.
woman has no
And
credibility.
I do not
We
believe
have her
the government
emails.
should be making
She's a
it. You know,
criminal.
I've had the great honor of traveling across the world on behalf of our country. I've been to countries where governments either forced women to have abortions like they used to do in China.
Oh, my
or
God.
forced women to
Hillary
bear
was part of
children
funding
like
China
they
and
used to do in
Africa
Romania.
to
And I
do
can
that.
tell you the
What
government
the
has
hell?
no business in the decisions that women make with their families in accordance with their faith, with medical advice, and I will stand up for that right.
All right.
The left
Just
is pushing
briefly, I wanna
one-child
move on to
policy
another
here.
segment.
Nobody has business doing what I just said, doing that as late as 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days prior to birth. Nobody has that.
10,000 plus a
Let's
year.
move on to the subject of immigration. And there is almost no issue that separates the two of you more than the issue of immigration. Actually, there are a lot of issues that separate the
Obama
two
has
of you.
lawlessly opened
Mr.
the
Trump,
border. This is
you want to build a
globalism.
wall, Secretary
It's the
Clinton.
UN.
You have offered no specific
Mexico
plan
has a
for
wall.
how you want to secure our southern border. Mr. Trump, you are calling for major deportations. Secretary Clinton, you say that within your first 100 days as president, you're going to offer a package that includes a pathway to citizenship. The question really is, why are you right and your opponent wrong? Mr. Trump, you go first in this segment. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, she wants to give amnesty, which is a disaster and very unfair to all of the people that are waiting in line for many, many years. We need strong borders. In the audience tonight, we have 4 mothers of, I mean, these are unbelievable people that I've gotten to know over a period of years whose children have been killed, brutally killed by people that came into the country illegally. You have thousands of mothers and fathers and relatives all over the country. They're coming in illegally. Drugs are pouring in through the border. We have no country if we have no border. Hillary wants to give amnesty. She wants to have open borders. The border secure, as you know, the Border Patrol agents, 16,500 plus ICE last week endorsed me. First time they've ever endorsed a candidate. It means their job is tougher, but they know what's going on. They know it better than anybody. They want strong borders. They feel we have to have strong borders. I was up in New Hampshire the other day. The biggest complaint they have, it's with all of the problems going on in the world, many of the problems caused by Hillary Clinton and by Barack Obama, all of the problems, their single biggest problem is heroin that pours across our southern borders, just pouring and destroying their youth. It's poisoning the blood of their youth and plenty of other people. We have to have strong borders. We have to keep the drugs out of our country. Right now, we're getting the drugs, they're getting the cash. We need strong borders. We need we cannot give amnesty. Now, I want to build the wall. We need the wall. The Border Patrol, ICE, they all want the wall. We stop the drugs. We shore up the border. One of my first acts will be to get all of the drug lords, all of the bad ones. We have some bad, bad people in this country that have to go out. We're going to get them out. We're going to secure the border. And once the border is secured, at a later date, we'll make a determination as to the rest. But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
Mr. Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Secretary Clinton. Basically, why are you right and Mr. Trump is wrong?
Well, as he was talking, I was thinking about a young girl I met here in Las Vegas, Carla, who was very worried that her parents might be deported because she was born in this country, but they were not. They work hard. They do everything they can to give her a good life. And you're right. I don't want to rip families apart. I don't want to be sending parents away from children. I don't want to see the deportation force that Donald has talked about in action in our country. We have 11 million undocumented people. They have 4 million American citizen children, 15 million people. He said as recently as a few weeks ago in Phoenix that every undocumented person would be subject to deportation. Now, here's what that means. It means you would have to have a massive law enforcement presence, where law enforcement officers would be going school to school, home to home, business to business, rounding up people who are undocumented. And we would then have to put them on trains, on buses to get them out of our country. I think that is an idea that is not in keeping with who we are as a nation. I think it's an idea that would rip our country apart. I have been for border security for years. I voted for border security in the United States Senate. And my comprehensive immigration reform plan, of course, includes border security. But I want to put our resources where I think they're most needed, getting rid of any violent person, anybody who should be deported, we should deport them. When it comes to the wall that Donald talks about building, he went to Mexico, he had a meeting with the Mexican president, didn't even raise it, he choked, and then got into a Twitter war because the Mexican president said, we're not paying for that wall. So I think we are both a nation of immigrants and we are a nation of laws, and that we can act accordingly. And that's why I'm introducing comprehensive immigration reform within the first 100 days with a path to citizenship.
Thank you, Secretary Clinton. I want to follow up.
I think I should respond to the. First of all, I had a very good meeting with the president of Mexico. Very nice man. We will be doing very much better with Mexico on trade deals, believe me. The NAFTA deal signed by her husband is one of the worst deals ever made of any kind, signed by anybody. It's a disaster. Hillary Clinton wanted the wall. Hillary Clinton fought for the wall.
She did.
In 2006
it's on video.
or thereabouts. Now, she never gets anything done, so naturally the wall wasn't built. But Hillary Clinton wanted the wall.
Well, let me.
We are a country of laws.
There he goes interrupting.
And by the way,
no, wait. I'd like to hear from. I'd like to hear from Secretary Clinton.
You did call for a wall.
I voted for border security.
You voted for a wall, you liar.
There are some limited places where that was appropriate. There also is necessarily going to be new technology and how best to deploy that.
No, they just got rid of the wall.
But it is clear when you look at what Donald has been proposing. He started his campaign bashing immigrants, calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals.
No, he didn't. He said we got to send criminals that come in back that are criminals, which is admitted.
We should do
Mexico gives you a visa, lady.
What I am also arguing
God,
is
I'm sick of this, man.
Bringing undocumented immigrants out from the shadows, putting them into the formal economy will be good, because then employers can't exploit them and undercut
the Democrats
Americans'
always
wages.
want to keep
and Donald
illegals
knows a
under
lot
control.
about this. He used undocumented labor to build the Trump Tower. He underpaid undocumented workers, and when they complained, he basically said what a lot of employers do: you complain, I'll get you deported. I want to get everybody out of the shadows, get the economy working,
of the money.
and not let employers like Donald exploit undocumented workers,
little
which hurts
dirty
them,
pig
but also hurts
that worked for
American
Saul
workers.
Alinsky, who
President Obama has moved millions of people out. Nobody knows about it. Nobody talks about it. But under Obama, millions of people have been moved out of this country. They've been deported. She doesn't want to say that, but that's what's happened, and that's what's happened big league.
By the way, breaking news on INFOWARS.com. Danny Williams attempted to meet Bill Clinton today at the debate, was unable to. CNN had him kicked out of the hotel.
You can
go
come
back.
back in, and you can become a citizen. But it's very unfair. We have millions of people that did it the right way.
I go to Cancun, I got to get out when they say 6 days.
Speed up the process, big league, because it's very inefficient. But they're online and they're waiting to become citizens. Very unfair that somebody runs.
That's what he said a year and a half ago. You got to go through it. We'll make it easier.
You have open borders. You would have a disaster on trade, and you will have a disaster with your open borders. But what she doesn't say is that President Obama has deported millions and millions of people just the way it is.
Secretary Clinton, I want to.
We will not have open borders.
Well, let me
that is a
we already have them, you lying goblin.
We will have secure borders, but we will also have reform. And this used to be a bipartisan issue. Ronald Reagan was the last president to sign immigration reform, and George W. Bush supported it as well.
Secretary Clinton, I want to clear up your position on this issue, because in a speech you gave to a Brazilian bank for which you were paid $225,000, we've learned from the WikiLeaks that you said this, and I want to quote: "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders." So that's the question. That's the question. Please quiet, everybody.
Well,
is that your dream, open borders?
Well, if you went on to read the rest of the sentence, I was talking about energy. You know, we trade more energy with our neighbors than we trade with the rest of the world combined. And I do want us to have an electric grid, an energy system that crosses borders. I think that will be a great benefit to us. But you are very clearly quoting from WikiLeaks, and what's really important about WikiLeaks is that the Russian government has engaged in espionage
That you took $35 million
against
from.
Americans.
Total lie.
They have
They're not behind most
American websites, American accounts of private people, of institutions. Then they have given that information to WikiLeaks for the purpose of putting it on the internet.
Because Jay Johnson said so?
This has come from the highest levels of the Russian government, clearly from Putin himself, in an effort.
So all your crimes are
17 of our
okay
intelligence
because it came from
agencies
Putin.
have confirmed to influence our election. So I actually think the most important question of this
What about
evening,
Soros
Chris,
in our
is
election?
finally, will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this?
Hit her. She's in bed with the
and
Russians.
make it
Hit
clear
her.
that
Uranium
he
deal.
will
Hit her.
not have
Hit
the
her.
help of
Hit her.
Putin in this election,
God,
that he
she sold us out to
rejects
everybody.
Russian
Look at that traitor
espionage
slime.
against Americans, which he actually encouraged in the past. Those are the questions we need answered. We've never had anything like this happen in any of our
Yeah,
elections
because nobody's
before.
as evil as you.
That was a great pivot off the fact that she wants open borders, okay? How did we get onto Putin?
Hold on.
No.
Hold on, folks. Because this is going to end up getting out of control. Let's try to keep it quiet.
He's using this to shut
for the
stuff down.
candidates and for the American people.
Trump hit
Just
him.
to finish on the borders.
Yes.
She wants open borders. People are going to pour into our country. People are going to come in from Syria. She wants 550% more people than Barack Obama.
That's right.
He has
Anchor
thousands
babies,
and
everything
thousands of
free.
people. They have no idea where they come from. And you see, we are going to stop radical Islamic terrorism in this country. She won't even mention the words, and neither will President Obama. So I just want to tell you, she wants open borders. Now we can talk about Putin. I don't know Putin. He said nice things about me. If we got along well, that would be good. If Russia and the United States got along well and went after ISIS, that would be good. He has no respect for her. He has no respect for our president. And I'll tell you what, we're in very serious trouble because we have a country with tremendous numbers of nuclear warheads, 1,800, by the way, where they expanded and we didn't. 1,800 nuclear warheads. And she's playing chicken. Look, Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
That's right.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United
puppet.
States.
No, because you're a dangerous piece of
pretty
filth.
clear-
You're the puppet.
that
It's
funds
pretty clear
Islam.
you won't admit
No, you're
that
the
the
puppet.
Russians have
Goddamn
engaged
traitors.
in cyber attacks against the United States of America.
Oh, BS.
That you encouraged.
You're the foreign banker, lady.
Against
You're the
our
enemy.
people, that you are willing to spout the Putin line, sign
Spout
up
the
for his
Putin line.
wish
We
list,
got your
break
emails.
up
You work for the
NATO, do whatever
Chinese,
he wants
lady.
to do, and that you continue to get help from him because he has a very clear favorite in this race. So I think that this is such an
Hit her
unprecedented
with the uranium.
situation. We've never had a foreign government trying to interfere
No, we just
in
had
our election.
Soros
We had
and the globalists and foreign banks.
17 intelligence agencies, civilian and military, who have all concluded
No, they haven't.
that these espionage attacks, these
No, the Army
cyber
came out and
attacks
said it's
come
not.
from the highest levels of the Kremlin.
All lies.
And they are designed to influence our election. I find that deeply disturbing.
Russia
and
knows
I
the
think
globalists
it's
want war.
time
They're
to
trying to stop it,
take
just like
a
we
stand,
are.
Russia,
because if-
China, or anybody
I am
else.
not
She
quoting
has
myself.
no idea.
I am quoting
Hillary, you
17.
have no idea.
17 intelligence. Do you doubt 17
Our
military
country
Well, don't they should be
and
arrested?
civilian agencies? Well,
The agencies that say
I'd
you work with the
rather
Muslims?
believe
Doubt it.
Vladimir
Ones that say
Putin
arrest you?
than the military and civilian intelligence professionals who are sworn to protect us. I
Sworn
find that
to
just
let you cover up.
absolutely
She doesn't
frightening.
like
Mr. Trump.
Putin because Putin
Mr.
has outsmarted her at every
Mr.
step
Trump,
of the way. Excuse me. Putin
Hey,
has
won't let Trump talk.
outsmarted
He's not
her
cheating. Wallace
in
is not cheating.
Syria. He's
I'm not a potted
outsmarted
plant
her
here. I
every step of the way.
do get to ask some
Wallace won't
questions.
let him talk.
Yes,
And
that's
I would
fine.
like to ask you this direct question. The top national security officials of this country do believe that Russia has been behind these hacks.
And Clapper said the NSA
Even
doesn't
if
spy.
you don't know for sure whether they are, do you condemn any interference by Russia
What, exposing
in the
Hillary's
American
criminal
election?
activity?
By Russia or anybody else.
You condemn their interference.
Of course I condemn. Of course I can. I don't know Putin. I have
I'm
no
not
idea.
asking you. I'm asking
I
you,
never
do you
met
condemn?
Putin. This is not my best friend. But if the United States got along with Russia, wouldn't be so bad. Let me tell you, Putin has outsmarted her and Obama at every single step of the way. Whether it's Syria, no, you name it, missiles. Take a look at the startup that they signed. The Russians have said, according to many, many reports, I can't believe they allowed us to do this. They create warheads, and we can't. The Russians can't believe it. She has been outsmarted by Putin, and all you have to do is look at the Middle East.
She gave them the uranium.
We've spent $6 trillion. They've taken over the Middle East. She has been outsmarted and outplayed worse than anybody I've ever seen in any government whatsoever.
We're a long way away from immigration, but I'm going to let you finish this topic. You got about 45 seconds.
Yeah,
and she always will be.
I find it ironic that he's raising nuclear weapons. This is a person who has been very cavalier, even casual, about the use of nuclear weapons. He's advocated more countries getting them, Japan, Korea, even Saudi Arabia. He's said, well, if we have them, why don't we use them, which I think is terrifying. But here's the deal. The bottom line on nuclear weapons is that when the president gives the order, it must
Japan's
be
got over 500
followed.
strike bombers
There's about
underground.
4 minutes between the order being given and the people responsible for launching
Japan, Mr. Warfare, doesn't have a secret army?
And that's why 10 people who have had that awesome responsibility have come out and in an unprecedented way said they would not trust Donald Trump with the nuclear codes or to have his finger on the nuclear
They got
button.
500 Japanese pilots loaded in jets right now to blow China off the map.
21 endorsing me, 21 Congressional Medal of Honor recipients. As far as Japan and other countries, we are being ripped off by everybody in the world. We're defending other countries. We are spending a fortune doing it. They have the bargain of the century. All I said is we have to renegotiate these agreements because our country cannot afford to defend Saudi Arabia, Japan, Germany, South Korea, and many other places.
Folks, a big secret. Japan has allowed a secret force to strike China.
Nuclear weapons.
They're 1,000-mile bomber range.
She's been
They've
proven
just signed
to be a
deals
liar
for more
in
advanced
so many
weapons.
different ways. This is just another lie.
Well, I'm just quoting you.
Yeah, the check against China is Japan. Japan is a giant army right now.
Nuclear competition in Asia, you said, go ahead, enjoy yourselves, folks. That kind
I told you Saudi Arabia had weapons 10 years ago. Now they admit the news.
I didn't say nuclear and defend yourself.
The United States has kept the peace through our alliances. Donald wants to tear up our alliances.
No, you destabled Iraq, you destabled Syria, you destabled Libya, you destabled Egypt. You're a liar. You're a liar. It's all lies. Like Obamacare being free.
We are going to move on to the next topic, which is the economy, and I hope we handle that.
He's giving her more time. He's giving her more time. That little son of a bitch.
You also have very different ideas about how to get the economy growing faster. Secretary Clinton, in your plan, government plays a big role. You see more government spending, more entitlements, more tax credits, more tax penalties. Mr. Trump, you want to get government out with lower taxes and less regulation.
Yes.
We're going to drill down into this a little bit more, but in this overview, please explain to me why you believe that your plan will create more jobs and growth for this country.
Sure did for Kennedy.
And your opponent's plan will not. In this round, you go first, Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think when the middle class thrives, America thrives. And so my plan is based on growing the economy, giving middle class families many more opportunities.
Their whole plan is
I want us to have the
destroy
biggest
us.
jobs program since World War II, jobs in infrastructure and advanced manufacturing. I think we can compete with high-wage countries, and I believe we should. New jobs and clean energy, not only to fight climate change.
That means select deals to her friends,
but to
boondoggles.
create new opportunities.
Shut down your job,
businesses.
give it to them. That's
I want
a
us to
scam.
do more to help small business. That's where 2/3 of the new jobs are going to come from.
Well, if you had a business, you didn't build
I want us
that.
to raise the national minimum wage because
You got a
people who
job.
live in poverty
You didn't
should
build
not,
that.
who
Somebody
work
else did
full-time
that
should
for
not
you.
Still be in poverty, and I sure do want to make sure women get equal pay for the work we do.
Oh, she cares about women.
I feel strongly that we have to have an education
Only when they're
system that
dropping those
starts in
panties.
preschool and goes through college. That's why I want more technical education in high schools and in community colleges, real apprenticeships to prepare young people for the jobs of the future. I want to make college debt-free, and for families making less than $125,000.
Does Trump get any time here? Is it all just this witch?
You will not get a
Because Wallace
tuition
isn't really
bill
being
from a
nasty
public college
and
or
interrupting,
university if
but
the
he's
plan
letting
that I
her
worked
talk the
on
whole time.
with Bernie
When the
Sanders,
time comes out
is
tonight,
enacted.
she's gotten
And
30%
we're gonna
more.
work hard to make sure that it is, because we are going to go where the money is. Most of the gains in the
where the
last
money
years
is. The
since
big
Great
money's behind
Recession
you.
have gone to the very top.
The
So we are
globalists that
gonna
have gang
have
raped this
the
country are behind you,
wealthy pay
lady.
their fair
Fact.
share. We're going to have corporations make a contribution greater than they are now to our country. That is a plan that has been analyzed by independent experts, which said that it could produce 10 million new jobs. By contrast, Donald's plan
the moon
has
is
been
made of cheese.
analyzed to conclude it might lose.
That's right,
3.5
Batman,
million
it
jobs.
is.
Why? Because his whole plan is to cut taxes, to give the biggest tax breaks ever to the wealthy and to corporations.
Oh, they already
adding
are offshore,
$20 trillion
sweetheart.
to our debt.
That's why
and
they're against
causing
it.
the kind
They don't
of
want the general public to get a leg
dislocation
up.
that we have
They
seen
want a
before,
monopoly.
because it truly will be
You
trickle
want me
down
not
economics
cutting in? We
on
have feeds at
steroids.
INFOWARS.com for this analysis, but I'm not sitting there with all this witch lies.
Greater opportunities. The plan he
There
has
was no
will cost
Benghazi
us
stand
jobs
down.
and possibly lead to another great recession.
Secretary, thank you. Mr. Trump, why will your plan create more jobs and growth than Secretary Clinton?
Well, first of all, before I start on my plan, her plan is going to raise taxes and even double your taxes. Her tax plan is a disaster. And she can say all she wants about college tuition.
By the way,
and
WikiLeaks shows she wanted to bankrupt
a lot
the
of things
economy.
for college tuition, but the rest
Remember
of the
Obamacare?
public
She wants
is
to
going to be
fail.
paying for
It's
it.
true.
We will have a massive, massive tax increase under Hillary Clinton's plan. But I'd like to start off where we left, because when I said Japan and Germany, and I'm not to single them out, but South Korea, these are very rich, powerful countries. Saudi Arabia, nothing but money. We protect Saudi Arabia. Why aren't they paying? She immediately, when she heard this, I questioned it. And I questioned NATO. Why aren't the NATO questioned? Why aren't they paying? Because they weren't paying. Since I did this was a year ago, all of a sudden they're paying. And I've been given a lot of credit for it. All of a sudden they're starting to pay up. They have to pay up. We're protecting people. They have to pay up. And I'm a big fan of NATO, but they have to pay up. She comes out and said, we love our allies. We think our allies are great. Well, it's awfully hard to get them to pay up when you have somebody saying, we think how great they are. We have to tell Japan in a very nice way. We have to tell Germany, all of these countries, South Korea. We have to say, you have to help us out.
We're going bankrupt.
We have,
Pay
during
up.
his
Pay
regime,
up.
during
Exactly.
President Obama's regime, we've doubled our national debt. We're up to $20 trillion. So my plan, we're going to renegotiate trade deals. We're going to have a lot of free trade. We're going to have free trade, more free trade than we have right now. But we have horrible deals. Our jobs are being taken out by the deal that her husband signed, NAFTA, one of the worst deals ever. Our jobs are being sucked out of our economy. You look at all of the places that I just left. You go to Pennsylvania, you go to Ohio, you go to Florida, you go to any of them. You go upstate New York. Our jobs have fled to Mexico and other places. We're bringing our jobs back. I am going to renegotiate NAFTA. And if I can't make a great deal, then we're going to terminate NAFTA and we're going to create new deals. We're going to have trade, but we're going to terminate it. We're going to make a great trade deal.
A bunch
and if
of
we
lawyers
can't, we're going to do it. We're going to go a separate way because it has been a disaster. We are going to cut taxes massively. We're going to cut business taxes massively. They're going to start hiring people. We're going to bring the $2.5 trillion that's offshore back into the country. We are going to start the engine rolling again because right now our country is dying at 1% GDP.
Well, let me translate that if I can, Chris, because...
Let me translate that. Globalism was meant to kill America, and you don't get that, Trump. And we're going to finish the country. We're taking over.
Tax cuts
Hail George Soros.
3 times more than...
Let me translate that for you. I'm a piece of crap that steals furniture from the State Department.
I have said repeatedly throughout this campaign, I will not raise taxes on anyone making $250,000 or less.
That's what Obama said. He lied.
I also will not add a penny to the debt. I have costed out what I'm going to do. He will, through his massive tax cuts, add $20 trillion to the debt. Well, he mentioned the debt. We know how to get control of the debt. When my husband was president, we went from a $300 billion deficit to a $200 billion surplus.
They created the derivatives.
We're actually
They created
on the path
it all.
to eliminating the national
what a liar.
debt. When President
Obamacare's
Obama
free,
came into
too.
office,
Did you hear?
He inherited the worst
He told
economic
you.
disaster.
And there's no
since the Great
penalties
Depression.
either.
He has cut the deficit by 2/3. So, yes, one of the ways you go after the debt, one of the ways you create jobs is by investing in people. So I do have investments in new jobs, investments in education, skill training, and
That
the
means
opportunities for
select
people
companies that
to
are
get ahead
offshore.
and stay ahead. That's the kind of approach that
They give
will
the money
work.
to their friends.
Cutting
She says
taxes on the
targeted
wealthy,
investment,
we've tried that.
They take your
it
money
has
in
not
taxes
worked the way
and give it to select
that,
groups like the
it
King
has
of
been done.
Spain
Strickland, I want
and
to
toll roads.
pursue your plan because in many ways it is similar to the Obama stimulus plan in 2009, which has led to the slowest GDP growth since
Which gives money to your friends. He's actually being accurate.
Correct.
Wallace is smart.
Thank you, sir. You told me in July when we spoke that the problem is that President Obama didn't get to do enough in what he was trying to do with this stimulus. So is your plan basically even more of the Obama stimulus?
Well, it's a combination, Chris. And let me say that when you inherit the level of economic catastrophe that President Obama inherited, it was a real touch-and-go situation. I was in the Senate before I became Secretary of State. I've never seen people as physically distraught as the Bush administration team was because of what was happening to the economy. I personally believe that the steps that President Obama took saved the economy. He doesn't get the credit he deserves for taking some very hard positions. But it was a terrible recession. So now we've dug ourselves out of it. We're standing, but we're not yet running. So what I am proposing is that we invest from the middle out and the ground up, not the top down. That is not going to work. That's why what I have put forward doesn't add a penny to the debt, but it is the kind of approach that will enable more people to take those new jobs, higher paying jobs. We're beginning to see some increase in incomes, and we certainly have had a long string of increasing jobs. We've got to do more to get the whole economy moving, and that's what I believe I will be able to do.
Mr. Trump, even conservative economists who have looked at your plan say that the numbers don't add up, that your idea, and you've talked about 25 million jobs created, 4%
over a 10-year period
growth, is unrealistic. And they say, you talk a lot about growing the energy industry, they say with oil prices as low as they are right now, that's unrealistic as well. Your response?
So I just left some high representatives of India. They're growing at 8%. China is growing at 7%, and that for them is a catastrophically low number. We are growing. Our last report came out, and it's right around the 1% level, and I think it's going down. Last week, as you know, at the end of last week, they came out with an anemic jobs report, a terrible jobs report. In fact, I said, is that the last jobs report before the election? Because if it is, I should win easily. It was so bad. The report was so bad. Look, our country is stagnant. We've lost our jobs. We've lost our businesses. We're not making things anymore, relatively speaking. Our product is pouring in from China, pouring in from Vietnam, pouring in from all over the world. I've visited so many communities. This has been such an incredible education for me, Chris. I've gotten to know so many. I've developed so many friends over the last year, and they cry when they see what's happened. I passed factories that were thriving 20, 25 years ago, and because of the bill that her husband signed and she blessed 100%, it is just horrible what's happened to these people in these communities. Now, she can say that her husband did well, but boy, did they suffer as NAFTA kicked in, because it didn't really kick in very much, but it kicked in after they left. Boy, did they suffer. That was one of the worst things that's ever been signed by our country. Now she wants to sign Trans-Pacific Partnership, and she wants it. She lied when she said she didn't call it the gold standard in one of the debates. She totally lied. She did call it the gold standard, and they actually fact-checked, and they said I was right. I was so honored.
I want to give you a chance to briefly speak to that, and then I want to pivot to 1/6 of the economy, which is Obamacare. But go ahead, briefly.
First, let me say, number one, when I saw the final agreement for TPP, I said I was against it. It didn't meet my tests. I've had the same tests. Does it create jobs, raise incomes, and further our national security? I'm against it now. I'll be against it after the election. I'll be against it when I'm president. There's only one of us on this stage who's actually shipped jobs to Mexico, because that's Donald. He's shipped jobs to 12 countries, including Mexico. But he mentioned China. And, you know, one of the biggest problems we have with China is the illegal dumping of steel and aluminum into our markets. I have fought against that as a senator. I've stood up against it as Secretary of State. Donald has bought Chinese steel and aluminum. In fact, the Trump hotel right here in Las Vegas was made with Chinese steel. So he goes around with crocodile tears about how terrible it is, but he has given jobs to Chinese steel workers, not American steel workers.
Mr. Trump?
That's the kind of approach that is just not going to work. We're going to pull the country together. We're going to have trade agreements that we enforce. That's why I'm going to have a trade prosecutor for the first time in history. And we're going to enforce those agreements. And we're going to look for businesses to help us by buying American products.
Folks,
I ask a simple question. She's been doing this for 30 years.
Not to say that.
Why the hell didn't you do it over the last 15, 20 years? You were very much involved, excuse me, my turn. You were very much involved in every aspect of this country, very much. And you do have experience. I'd say the one thing you have over me is experience, but it's bad experience because what you've done has turned out badly. For 30 years, you've been in a position to help. And if you say that I use steel or I use something else, I make it impossible for me to do that. I wouldn't mind. The problem is you talk, but you don't get anything done, Hillary. You don't. Just like when you ran the State Department, $6 billion was missing. How do you miss $6 billion? You ran the State Department. $6 billion was either stolen, they don't know. It's gone. $6 billion. If you become president, this country is going to be in some mess, believe me.
Well, first of all, what he just said.
All right, fade that liar down. I'm going to, folks, just like I said last week, I said it's 3 against 1. And then he said it's 3 against 1. We're like synced. There isn't any wires in our ears, you know, literally to each other, but we're synced with common sense. I was just going to cut in. I'm like, hit her with the facts. They've been running the country for almost 30 years. Well, people, if you want something different, get this lady out of your life. She sold us out to multinationals. When they keep the taxes higher than China on corporations, it makes us move. She knows what she's doing, and we've got WikiLeaks proving it. It's not like we don't just know looking at it. We have the facts. This damn woman hates America. She wears Mao outfits on TV. Go back to this piece of trash.
Alicia Machado called her an eating machine. And on the day
he was mean to girls, like when they killed Chinese women's babies and sell the women's organs. Oh, let's talk about the Al-Qaeda killing women and selling their organs, and ISIS and 6-year-old girls in sex slavery, and how you stay in the same room with Uma Abedin, whose mother's the top sexual mutilation of women pimp in the world. What the hell? You steal the Haitian money. You're a criminal monster. We have the emails. You want our guns. You lie about everything. You're a monstrous pig picked by the globalists to curse this country.
Worth many, many billions of dollars. I started with a $1 million loan. I agree with that. It's a $1 million loan, but I built a phenomenal company. And if we could run our country the way I've run my company, we would have a country that...
My dad, in 1995, when I was starting out in media, gave me a $50,000 loan. And in 1998, I paid it back. He didn't ask for it with interest, $75,000. My dad gave me 50. His dad gave him $1 million. You have done nothing but run governments and run us on the ground, you frickin' scumbag. Back to Donald Trump.
Should have never been in Iraq. But once we were there, we should have never got out the way they wanted to get out.
They always lie and say he wasn't. We got him on tape.
As sure as you are sitting there.
He was right.
And what happened is now ISIS is in 30.
You killed millions of Iraqis, bitch. Tell me that.
How she's going to get rid of ISIS. She's going to get rid of nobody.
All right. We're going
to
get to foreign hotspots in a few moments.
I can't handle her lies anymore. I'm sorry. It's all lies. And this is commentary. If you want feeds without me talking, INFOWARS.com.
You said your talk about grabbing women was just that, talk.
Yeah, like Clinton settled red cases.
Done it. And since then,
here we go, get ready.
We all know 9 women have come forward.
Halfway in, Wallace gets ready to, and 6 of them have said it was,
or kissed them.
Turned out they were trying to pick Trump up, and he wouldn't do it. Inviting him to their house.
So many different women from so many different circumstances.
Yeah, why did Bill Clinton settle so many rape cases?
All in this last
good question. Yeah, Trump, why did Bill Clinton settle so many rape cases?
Why would they all make up?
And why do these women wait till a month out?
Both of you, Secretary Clinton,
who sleeps with an Islamicist
your husband
tonight.
Did, and that you defended was even worse. Mr. Trump, you go first.
Well, first of all, those stories have been largely debunked. Those people, I don't know those people. I have a feeling how they came. I believe it was her campaign that did it. Just like
actually ABC
if you look at what
CNN
came out today on the clips, where I was wondering what happened with my rally in Chicago and other rallies where we had such violence. She's the one in Obama that caused the violence.
They sent the email.
They hired people. They paid them $1,500, and they're on tape saying, be violent, cause fights, do bad things. I would say the only way, because those stories are all totally false. I have to say that. And I didn't even apologize to my wife, who's sitting right here, because I didn't do anything. I didn't know any of these women. I didn't see these women. These women,
folks, they've got
the woman on the plane,
the woman I'm married to.
I think they want either fame or her campaign did it. And I think it's her campaign. Because what I saw,
saying I raped him, I've never met. Me.
Which is a criminal act, by the way.
Yes.
Where they're telling people to go out and start fistfights and start violence. And I'll tell you what, in particular in Chicago, people were hurt and people could have been killed in that riot.
Can we
and
pull
that
up Matt
was now
DeVille from a
all
local
on
station
tape,
that first broke it?
started by her.
Emails.
I believe,
She
Chris,
ran the whole thing.
that
She did.
got these people to step forward. If it wasn't,
I love
they
Trump.
get their 10 minutes of fame. But they were all totally, it was all fiction. It was lies and it was fiction.
They've called 3,000 women now. They've got
Well,
9 of them to make crap up.
At the last debate, we heard Donald talking about what he did to women.
Bring
and
up
after
her
that,
husband.
A number of women
Bring up her girlfriend,
have come
Abedin.
forward,
Hit her, hit her,
saying
hit her,
that's
hit her.
exactly
Bring
what
up
he
fighting
did
the
to
jihadis.
them.
Hit her.
Now, what was his response? Well, he held a number of big rallies where he said that he could not possibly have done those things to those women because they were not attractive enough for
I did not
them
say
to be
that.
assaulted.
I did not say that.
In
No, he
fact,
said
went
this
on
woman
to
makes it up.
say-
Her 2 minutes, sir. Her 2 minutes.
But did not say that.
It's her 2 minutes.
He went on to say, look at her. I don't think so. About another woman, he said, that wouldn't be my first choice. He attacked the woman reporter writing the story, called her disgusting, as he has called a number of women during this
Women think they're
campaign.
getting ahead working with the
Donald
government.
thinks
You're going straight to
belittling
hell, man.
women makes him bigger. He goes after their dignity, their self-worth.
Oh, they're making it up.
And I don't think there is a woman anywhere.
We got
who
crazy
doesn't
women all
know
over
what
saying
that
I'm married
feels
to
like.
them. You know, screw these people.
So we
Care if
now
it's a guy or a
know
woman, go to hell.
what Donald thinks and what he says and how he acts toward
I
women.
mean, he's like, call me a Russian
That's
agent,
who
man.
Donald is.
At a certain point, I'm tired of it.
I think it's really up to all of us to demonstrate who we are and who our country
When you stole the Haitian money from the children.
and to stand up and be very
Can we
clear
show the little
about
Haitian girl
what
starving
we
to death? Can we show the little
expect
girl in blue,
from
please?
Our next president,
Makes Zimmerman cry every time
how
he
we
sees it.
want to bring
He's
our
a good helper.
country together, where we don't
Can we show the
want
kid she robbed, please, on
to
screen?
have the kind of pitting of people one against the other. Where
Which your
instead
own
we
emails show you're
celebrate our
doing for race war.
diversity, we lift people up, and we make our country even greater.
I want to adopt a little girl right
America
now. I'll adopt her right now
is
if I can
great
get her to the
because
U.S.
America is good. And it
just tears
really
my guts
is
out.
up to all of us to make that true now and in the future, and particularly for our
Stole their
children
money.
and our
I
grandchildren.
hate you so much, lady.
Mr. Trump.
I hate you.
Nobody has more respect.
Such
for
a
women than
pig.
I do. Nobody. Nobody has more respect.
Please, everybody.
And
Show the girl they
frankly,
robbed. Show the girl.
those stories have been large.
Show the Clinton victim.
And I really want to just talk about something slightly different. She mentions this, which is all fiction, all fictionalized, probably or possibly started by her and her
Well, they run the whole
very
thing. We have the
sleazy
emails.
campaign. But I will tell you, what isn't fictionalized are
Is her robbing that
emails,
little black
where
girl.
She destroyed 33,000 emails criminally, after getting a subpoena from the United States Congress.
Tell you what didn't
happened to
fictionalize.
the
Put the Haitian
FBI?
girl
I
on.
don't know.
What didn't fictionalize? She
We
robbed
have a
that girl
great general,
of almost all the
four-star
money.
General, today,
It's a piece of
you
crap.
read it in all the papers, going to potentially serve 5 years in jail for lying to the FBI. One lie. She's lied hundreds of times.
And tried to bribe the
people,
FBI.
to Congress, and to the FBI. He's going to probably go to jail. This is a 4-star general. And she gets away with it, and she can run for the presidency of the United States. That's really what you should be talking about, not fiction, where somebody wants fame or where they come out of her crooked campaign.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, every time
6
Donald
of the
is
10,
pushed
I've
on
counted them,
something,
or
which
6 of the
is
9.
obviously
We're asking him 6 months ago, a year ago, 2
uncomfortable.
months ago, depending on the person, come to my restaurant, come here, you helped me on Apprentice, thank you, thank you. Hey, you want to hang out? You want to do... They're just all making this crap up, man. They've already been caught.
not just about women. He never.
It's not about women. Let's show the starving black child by herself, her parents dead, no aid, in Haiti. You stole the money. Here, let's show your victim.
But he also went after a disabled reporter, mocked and mimicked him on
Wrong.
national television. He
That was
went
out of
after
context.
Mr. and Mrs.
Infowars.com/show.
The parents
See
of
the
a
video.
young man who died serving our country, a Gold Star family because of their religion.
No, the father's involved in Sharia law, pushing his crap. Trump exposed it.
Prefers people who aren't captured. He went after a federal judge born in Indiana.
Who is part of La Raza,
Donald
Ed
said he
Mecha,
was
and a
trusted
Mexican
by the frauds
KKK
that
member,
went
in my
to bring
opinion.
case against Trump University because his parents were
His
Mexican.
dad is a Lorican Conquista head.
Not one thing. that
He is a
you
Lorican
have
Conquista.
a pattern of divisiveness.
I say screw the Klan, screw the Mexican racists, black racists, all I'm done.
In many ways, dangerous vision.
What about prosperity? Dangerous vision?
Violence,
you know he's 10 points ahead, lady.
People who are pushing and pulling and punching at his rallies.
Oh, my God, every time they send him. I mean, I cannot handle this. She's caught in the emails. The media will not call her.
More and more people will understand what's at stake in this election. It really does come down to what kind of
people dressed like Bernie Sanders to blame him and Sanders.
Said when she talks about violence at my rallies, and she caused the violence. It's on tape.
During the
other things are false, but honestly, I'd love to talk about.
We have WikiLeaks, and we have the national coordinator admitting it. We have you, lady.
But those other charges, as she knows, are false.
In this bucket about fitness to be president,
God,
there's been a lot of developments over the last 10 days since the last debate. I'd like to ask you about them. These are questions that the American people have. Secretary Clinton, during your 2009 Senate confirmation hearing, you promised to avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest with your dealing with the Clinton Foundation while you were Secretary of State. But emails show that donors got special access to you. Those seeking grants for Haiti relief were considered separately from non-donors, and some of those donors got government contracts, taxpayer money. Can you really say that you kept your pledge to that?
And they put the money back in the foundation. She didn't just keep 94%. The little bit she gave to aid, they had to pay her back with the money.
Why isn't it what Mr. Trump calls pay to play?
Well, everything I did as Secretary of State was in furtherance of our country's interests.
Oh, yeah, sure. Wallace has been the fairest yet, but he's still not fair. I give him he's like 55-45.
I'm thrilled to talk about the Clinton Foundation because it is a world-renowned
You're thrilled. What a piece of trash you are. Your own daughter said you were killing people in Haiti.
For the rest of the debate, I know I don't have the
Hit her with
time to
Chelsea.
do that. But just briefly, the Clinton Foundation
Let's put some articles on screen.
For 11 million
Chelsea saying we're killing people.
World with HIV/AIDS to afford treatment.
Oh my God! They shipped for 10 years blood out of their hospitals and out of their prisons, knowing it had HIV and hepatitis. Famous blood scandal. Look up the Clinton blood scandal. Nobody knows about it. And she's talking about fighting HIV and AIDS. I cannot handle this anymore. Go back to him.
A specific question went to pay for play. Do you want to talk about that?
But there is no evidence. But there is
no one's hit her with the HIV blood. Hit her. Hit her. Hit her.
And it's a criminal enterprise. And so many people know it. It's a criminal enterprise.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights?
Yes.
So these are people that push gays off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money. So I'd like to ask you right now, why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly? Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture.
Well,
because she takes a tremendous amount of money, and you take a look at the people of Haiti. I was at a little Haiti the other day in Florida, and I want to tell you, they hate the Clintons because what's happened in Haiti with the Clintons is a disgrace.
By the way, I can break now.
And you know it. And
Trump is looking at flying to Haiti this week.
Secretary
well,
Clinton.
very quickly, we at the Clinton Foundation spend 90% of all the money.
Oh my God, inverse reality. They keep 94. That's even the Washington Post.
I'm very proud of that. The highest rating from the watchdogs that follow
Snopes, a fat lady with a cat?
I'd be happy to compare what we do with the Trump Foundation, which took money from other people and bought a 6-foot portrait of Donald. I mean, who does that?
Even Politico admits they ripped off.
But when it comes to Haiti,
even the emails from Chelsea, she is the biggest liar.
The earthquake,
they give 4% of their own money.
Devastated
oh my God! I've never seen
Bill and
this.
I have been involved in trying to help Haiti for many years.
We're raising money again. We want to help you so much. We didn't have sex with that lady either.
Catastrophic earthquake and all of the terrible problems the people there had. We've done things to help small businesses, agriculture, and so much else.
They set a sweatshop up.
And we're going to keep working to help Haiti because it's an important part of the American.
Riots would start when we mention the Clinton name. We have HD video.
I'd like to mention one thing. Trump Foundation, small foundation. People contribute. I contribute. The money goes 100% goes to different charities, including a lot of military.
You gave $15
I don't get
million.
anything. I don't buy boats. I don't buy planes. What happens is the money goes out.
Wasn't some of the money used to settle your lawsuit, sir?
No, it was. We put up the American flag, and That's it. They put up the American flag. We fought for the right in Palm Beach to put up the American flag.
There was a penalty that was imposed.
And that paid for the lawsuit, dickhead.
The money came from your foundation.
And by the way, the money,
instead of Mar-a-Lago
went to Fisher House, where they build houses. The money that you're talking about went to Fisher House, where they build houses for veterans and disabled.
I want to get into one
last... But of course, there's no way we can know whether any of that is true because he hasn't released his tax return.
No, because you won't release the Clinton Foundation stuff. You liar!
In the last 40-plus years, who has not released his tax return. So everything he says about charity,
I love all these soft demons that have signed on there. You're all in the fail. I can smell your
defeat. You can look at our tax returns. We've got them all out there. But what is really...
I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he live or be he dead, I'll ground your bones to make my bread before I die.
Undocumented immigrants in our country actually pay federal income tax. So we have undocumented immigrants in America who are paying more federal income tax than a billionaire. I find that
let me just tell you very
astonishing.
Simply, we're entitled, because of the laws that people like her pass, to take massive amounts of depreciation and other charges.
Hillary is selling you magic bean stocks. Trump is selling you Americana. I mean, he is our last, folks. He means to.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
He just wants to take the handcuffs off.
Mr. Trump,
that's all he's got to do. We explode.
You know what she should have done?
Folks, we heard
and
this.
You know, Hillary,
he's going to bring in all the workers, as long as they're not felons. He just said he's going to make it easier to come in legal if you're not a freaking criminal. I mean, you're not a rapist? Come on in. You know?
Well,
Jesus, I cannot believe this. At least he got quoted tonight, though. His full quote from a year and a half ago was, if you're a criminal, we're deporting your ass. If you're illegal, if you're not a criminal, we can get you back in if you want to, you've got a job.
But I will tell you, I sat there watching ad after ad after ad, false ad, all paid for by your friends on Wall Street.
And he got no corporate money.
So much money because they know you're going to protect them. And frankly, you should have changed the laws. Trump, if you don't like what I did, you should have changed the laws.
Mr. Trump, I want to ask you about one last question in this topic.
Yeah, no money from Wall Street, folks. You claim you're anti-establishment?
Rallies recently that this election is rigged and that Hillary Clinton is in the process of trying to steal.
Yeah, we have Democrats nationwide, her head people admitting they're stealing the election.
Your running mate, Governor Pence, pledged on Sunday that he and you, his words, will absolutely accept the result of this election. Today, your daughter Ivanka said the same thing. I want to ask you here on the stage tonight, do you make the same commitment?
Hillary claims Russia's running it, but then says no election fraud's happening.
The result of this
Trump works with Russia.
I'll look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time. What I've seen is so bad. First of all, the media is so dishonest and so corrupt, and the pile-on is so amazing.
Yes.
The New York Times actually wrote an article about it that they don't even care. It's so dishonest, and they've poisoned the minds of the voters. But unfortunately for them, I think the voters are seeing through it. I think they're going to see through it. We'll find out on November 8th, but I think they're going to see through it.
But, sir, there's
if you look, excuse me, Chris, if you look at your voter rolls, you will see millions of people
4 million.
that are registered to vote. Millions. This isn't coming from me. This is coming from Pew Report and other places. Millions of people that are registered to vote that shouldn't be registered.
And the Democrats brag they're having people vote 10 times a piece.
Let me just give you one other
little
thing.
bastard
I talk about the corrupt media. I talk about the millions of people.
4 million.
I'll tell you one other thing.
4 million.
She shouldn't be allowed to run. She's guilty of a very, very serious crime.
She stole the nomination from Sanders.
She should not be allowed to run. And just in that respect, I say
rigged.
It's rigged. Because she should never, Chris, she should never have been allowed to run for the presidency.
She will destroy
based
America.
on what she did with emails and so many other things.
But, sir, there is a tradition in this country. In fact, one of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition of power.
Oh, Hillary will teach us about America.
How hard a campaign is, that at the end of the campaign, that the loser concedes to the winner. Not saying that you're necessarily going to be the loser.
You've got illegals and everybody voting all over the country. It's on video. Democrat, the head of the National Democrat Organization says, we're stealing it. We control the Justice Department. F you.
I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
God almighty.
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying. You know, every time.
It's horrifying. We have our operatives in the field stealing the election as we speak while blaming him of stealing it with the Russians. Remember, no one's pointing out. They're saying the Russians are stealing it. while they say he's a kook, while the Democrats have been caught in Ohio, Florida, New York, stealing it in early voting and bragging on hidden camera. Wow.
Then Trump
That's why I'm interrupting the woman, because I'm not going to sit here and watch him get ganged up on. I will not put up with your horse crap anymore.
Against him.
Damn traitors, man.
There was even a time when he didn't get an Emmy for his TV program.
Oh, my God. Woman, you have 200 people. He has 50,000 in his events. All the Google metrics show 10 times the support. Internal polls show he's winning by 60%. You know it, and you're getting us ready to steal it. We don't want an evil, wicked witch. We don't want a Clinton Bush corpse.
We've accepted the outcomes when we may not have
Yes,
liked
accept the outcome when you gang rape us. No, we don't accept Obamacare. No, we don't accept banning Islam and open borders. No, we don't accept world government and taking our guns. No, 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 no.
He is denigrating. He's talking down our democracy. And
Oh, yeah.
For one, am appalled.
You work for a shadow government. It's in WikiLeaks, you pig.
One of our two major parties
Hit her with that.
Take that kind of position.
Hit that pig.
What the FBI did
Hit
and
that
what
pig.
the Department of Justice did, including meeting with her husband, the Attorney General, in the back of an airplane on the tarmac in Arizona. I think
arrogant.
It's disgraceful. I think it's a disgrace.
Disgraceful
I think
pig.
we've never had a situation so bad.
Hold on,
in this
folks.
country.
This doesn't do any good for anyone. Let's please continue the debate, and let's move on to the subject of foreign hotspots.
Trump's winning this. Not as big as the last debate, but it's still his best performance.
Mosul has begun.
Pray for Donald Trump.
If they are successful
please
in
bring her to
pushing
justice,
ISIS
please,
out of
God.
that city and out of all
I
of
don't care
Iraq,
what happens to
the
me, just
question
please.
then becomes, what happens the day after? And that's something that whichever of you ends up,
He's going to
whoever of
start
you ends up
carving
as
this
president
country
is
up
going to
good,
have
starting
to
race
run.
war, federalizing police, takeovers on. Folks, gear up. This is it, boys. We're going in. And I've already cut across their axis to draw their fire.
You go first in this segment. You have 2 minutes.
Well, I am encouraged that there is an effort led by the Iraqi army, supported by Kurdish forces.
Which he's been battling the whole time. On record, Defense Intelligence is on record. They're putting Wahhabists in charge, Middle East one, and now she's claiming she's against it. They admitted that Al-Qaeda's ISIS is about to launch a chemical attack.
As an occupying force. I don't think that is in our interest, and I don't think that would be smart to do. In fact,
because we killed 55 million babies, folks. We had this demon put in.
Waving for ISIS to reconstitute itself. The goal here is to take back Mosul. It's going to be a hard fight. I've got no illusions
the
about
U.S. is
that.
bombing Russian forces trying to get into Mosul. So the Russians have put up a no-fly zone and ready for World War III. They've committed. They're battling radical Islam. They're in the right. I've never been to Russia, folks. I don't have a drop of Slavic blood in me. They're in the right. That woman is the enemy right there.
And that we will see a really
She claims Trump's a Russian agent because he doesn't want to back radical Muslims blowing up Catholic churches and Orthodox churches. What the hell? How far have we fallen?
Aided and abetted by the Iranians and the Russians continue.
The Iranians and the Russians didn't start the war, you witch. Our own military wouldn't go along with it.
An intelligence surge that protects us here at home.
By the way, we only got 100,000 of these left. We had 1 million. We got Hillary for Prison at InfoWars.com, InfoWarsStore.com. We have these Hillary for Prison shirts that cost $9.95 and 100 of these stickers for $17 to get out to everybody. InfoWarsStore.com. Go back to her.
For a no-fly zone and safe havens within
Which means
Syria.
shooting down Russian aircraft.
Syrians and prevent the constant outflow of refugees, but to frankly gain some leverage on both the Syrian government and the Russians so that perhaps we can have the kind of serious negotiation necessary to bring the conflict.
You can slit every Christian throat and get more devil power.
Track.
More children must die, Hillary. More Christians, or I will take your soul. I'll do it, Lord. Who do you want dead? Kill them in Africa. Kill them in the Middle East. Kill them in Asia. Yes, Lord.
Their return or something.
We show video of her vomiting up green balls, please.
So sad. We had Mosul. But when she left, when she took everybody out, we lost Mosul. Now we're fighting again to get Mosul. The problem with Mosul and what they wanted to do is they wanted to get the leaders of ISIS who they felt were in Mosul. About 3 months ago, I started reading that they want to get the leaders and they're going to attack Mosul. Whatever happened to the element of surprise? okay? We announced we're going after Mosul. I've been reading about going after Mosul now for about, how long is it, Hillary, 3 months? These people have all left. They've all left. The element of surprise. Douglas, MacArthur, George, Patton, spinning in their graves when they see the stupidity of our country. So we're now fighting for Mosul that we had. All she had to do is stay there. Now we're going in to get it. But you know who the big winner in Mosul is going to be after we eventually get it? And the only reason they did it is because she's running for the office of president. And they want to look tough. They want to look good. He violated the red line in the sand. And he made so many mistakes, made all mistakes. That's why we have the Great Migration. But she wanted to look good for the election. So they're going in. But who's going to get Mosul, really? We'll take Mosul eventually. By the way, if you look at what's happening, much tougher than they thought. Much, much tougher, much more dangerous, going to be more deaths than they thought. But the leaders that we wanted to get are all gone because they're smart. They say, what do we need this for? So Mosul is going to be a wonderful thing, and Iran should write us a letter of thank you, just like the really stupid, the stupidest deal of all time, a deal that's going to give Iran absolutely nuclear weapons. Iran should write us yet another letter.
By the way, I know trolls like to bitch, but I'm not going to respond to this. We have feeds without me talking about it on INFOWARS.com. I've said that 100 times. And the minority people bitch that I'm talking over the debate. We have the clean debate at INFOWARS.com/show. We have the links. You watch it all over TV. See, that's part of the victimology culture, where everybody wants to bitch about something when you can tune into something else. This is the feed where I'm talking over it because this is what we're doing in live analysis. We have the right side link, all of it at INFOWARS.com. Okay, so that's how this works. I mean, I just, it's like people driving in the fast lane, you know? It's like, do you understand? This is what you tuned into. We love you all. It's just, this is what people want. This is real. Here we go. Oh, nobody else does this.
Didn't support the invasion of Iraq. I said it was a mistake. I've said that years ago.
No, you supported it in massive sanctions that killed 500,000 Iraqi children. Again, you're a liar.
Before the invasion, he supported
it. How about live fact-checking?
And, you know, I just want everybody to go Google
Guys, Google Clinton supported Iraq invasion.
And you will see the dozens of sources which verify that he was for the invasion of Iraq.
Wrong.
And you can actually hear the audio of him saying that. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters because he has not told the truth about that position. I guess he believes it makes him look better now to contrast with me because I did vote for it. But what's really important here is to understand all the interplay. Mosul is a Sunni city. Mosul is on the border of Syria. And yes, we do need to go after Baghdadi, and just like we went after bin Laden while you were doing Celebrity Apprentice, and we brought him to justice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you brought bin Laden to justice with the fake killing of bin Laden. While he was doing Celebrity Apprentice, you were launching wars worldwide trying to take our guns. We need someone from outside, lady. And again, for TV viewers and radio listeners, INFOWARS.com/show. Put it back on screen. These are little trolls. They won't stop, though. People come to keep... They're going to get worse now that we responded to them. I'm showing the whole crew this. Here's the feed, INFOWARS.com. There's our feed, YouTube feed, another feed, right side feed. There's the feed without me talking. See it? All the other TV channels, they got to bitch more now, okay? They're Hillary supporters. They don't even know they are.
Chris, we don't gain anything. Iran is taking over Iraq.
Secretary Clinton.
Iran is taking over Iraq. We don't gain
Secretary Clinton.
We would have gained if they did.
Hillary has bankrupted our economy. Hillary has sold out our nation. Hillary is the past. She vacations with the Bushes. We want to change. We don't want corporate whore media. We're done.
You are the one that's unfit. You know, WikiLeaks just actually came out. John Podesta said some horrible things about you, and boy, was he right. He said some beauties.
You don't know what planet you're on.
He said you have bad judgment. You do. And if you think that going into Mosul, after we let the world know we're going in, and all of the people that we really wanted, the leaders,
he said you don't know what planet you're on.
That was good. Then you do.
Put it up.
Now, John Podesta said you have terrible instincts. Bernie Sanders said you have bad judgment. I agree with both.
Well, you should ask Bernie Sanders who he's supporting for president, and he has said,
which is
as he has campaigned for me around the country, you are the most dangerous person to run for president.
Actually, Jill Stein says you are starting World War III.
I think he's right.
Let's turn to Aleppo. Mr. Trump, in the last debate, you were both asked about the situation in the Syrian city of Aleppo, and I want to follow up on that because You said several things in that debate which were not true, sir.
Oh,
You said that Aleppo has basically fallen. In fact, there are...
It's a catastrophe.
It is a catastrophe, but there are a quarter of...
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
Sir,
have you seen
It did
what's
fall to
happened
ISIS.
to
What the
Aleppo?
hell?
Finish my question.
Okay, so it hasn't fallen. Take a look at it.
Well, there are 250,000 people still living there and being
fallen
slaughtered.
just means there's no government, you little piece of filth.
Yes.
Because of bad decisions.
If I may just
What the
finish.
hell?
And you also said that Syria and Russia are busy fighting ISIS. In fact, they have been the ones who've been bombing and shelling eastern Aleppo, and they just announced a humanitarian pause, in effect admitting that they have been bombing and shelling Aleppo. Would you like to clear that up, sir?
Well, Aleppo is
held by
disaster.
ISIS.
It's a humanitarian nightmare, but it has fallen from any standpoint.
It's like when they told him he wasn't against the Iraq War.
Take a look at Aleppo. It is so sad when you see what's happened. And a lot of this is because of Hillary Clinton, because what's happened is by fighting Assad, who turned out to be a lot tougher than she thought, and now she's going to say, oh, he loves Assad. He's just much tougher and much smarter than her and Obama. And everyone thought he was gone 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He aligned with Russia. He now also aligned with Iran, who we made very powerful. We gave them $150 billion back. We give them $1.7 billion in cash. I mean cash, bundles of cash as big as this stage. We gave them $1.7 billion. Now, they have aligned. He has aligned with Russia and with Iran. They don't want ISIS, but they have other things because we're backing rebels. We don't know who the rebels are. We're giving them lots of money, lots of everything. We don't know who the rebels are. And when and if, and it's not going to happen because you have Russia and you have Iran now, but if they ever did overthrow Assad, you might end up with as bad as Assad is, and he's a bad guy, but you may very well end up with worse than Assad. If she did nothing, we'd be in much better shape. And this is what's caused the Great Migration, where she's taken in tens of thousands of Syrian refugees who probably, in many cases, not probably, who are definitely, in many cases, ISIS aligned, and we now have them in our country, and wait till you see, this is going to be the great Trojan horse, and wait till you see what happens in the coming years. Lots of luck, Hillary. Thanks a lot for doing a great job.
Secretary Clinton, you have talked about, and in the last debate and again today, that you would impose a no-fly zone to try to protect the people of Aleppo and to stop the killing there. President Obama has refused to do that because he fears it's going to draw us closer or deeper into the conflict. And General Joseph Dunford, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says, you impose a no-fly zone, chances are you're going to get into a war, his words, with Syria and Russia. So the question I have is, if you impose a no-fly zone, first of all, how do you respond to their concerns? Secondly, if you impose a no-fly zone and a Russian plane violates that, does President Clinton shoot that plane down?
Well, Chris, first of all, I think a no-fly zone could save lives and could hasten the end of the conflict. I am well aware of the really legitimate concerns that you have expressed from both the president and the general. This would not be done just on the first day. This would take a lot of negotiation. It would also take making it clear to the Russians and the Syrians that our purpose here was to provide safe zones on the ground. We've had millions of people leave Syria, and those millions of people inside Syria who've been dislocated. So I think we could strike a deal and make it very
come through Turkey to invade Europe because you failed.
That this was something that we believed was in the best interests of the people on the ground in Syria.
To attack Russia.
Would help us with our fight against ISIS. But I want to respond to what Donald said about refugees. He's made these claims repeatedly. I am not going to let anyone into this country who is not vetted, who we do not have.
She said a 500% increase a month ago. Google it.
The door on women.
She gave a speech. 500% increase. Pull it up. Man, she lies, man. She thinks you're dumb.
An ambulance is haunting. And so we are going to...
It's haunting. When you started the war, you started the war. You started the war 5 years ago. You quarterbacked it as Secretary of State. You're a monster. You quarterbacked Libya. You ordered the stand down. You're a monster. You're a monster.
Communities who are on the front lines to identify and prevent attacks. In fact, the killer of the dozens of people at the nightclub in Orlando, the Pulse nightclub, was born in Queens, the same place.
His father was an alarmist and supports you.
Let's be clear about what the threat is and how we are
and said he did it because of you. He loves you.
And yes, some of that threat emanates from over in Syria and Iraq, and we've got to keep fighting, and I will defeat ISIS. And some of it is we have to up our game and be much smarter here
Folks,
at home.
I want to get into our final segment.
But I just have to, it's so
quick.
ridiculous what she will defeat ISIS. We should have never let ISIS happen in the first place. And right now they're in 32 countries.
Okay.
You should have never. Wait 1 second. They had a ceasefire 3 weeks ago. A ceasefire, United States, Russia, Syria. And during the ceasefire, Russia took over vast swatches of land. And then they said, we don't want the ceasefire anymore. We are so outplayed on missiles, on ceasefires. They are outplayed. Now, she wasn't there. I assume she had nothing to do with it. But our country is so outplayed by Putin and Assad and, by the way, and by Iran. Nobody can believe how stupid our leadership is.
Mr. Trump, Secretary Clinton, no, I'm going to move on to our final segment.
She stole furniture again, did you hear?
Which has not been discussed until tonight. Our national debt as a share of the economy, our GDP, is now 77%. That's
she helped deliver that to make us a better nation for Larry Summers.
After World War II. But the nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says, Secretary Clinton, under your plan, debt would rise to 86% of GDP over the next 10 years. Mr. Trump, under your plan, they say it would rise to 105% of GDP.
That's not true, though. If you cut taxes, it goes up.
Question is, why are both of you ignoring this problem?
We've already been maneuvered by you,
Well, I say they're wrong because I'm going to create tremendous jobs, and we're bringing GDP
When you
from
cut taxes,
really
they don't look at that. The big secret is,
now, and if she got in, it'll be less than zero. But we're bringing it from 1% up to 4%, and I actually think we can go higher than 4%. I think you can go to 5 or 6%.
China's had 10%
if
for
we
decades.
do, you don't have to bother asking your question because we have a tremendous machine. We will have created a tremendous economic machine once again. To do that, we're taking back jobs. We're not going to let our companies be raided by other countries where we lose all our jobs. We don't make our product anymore. It's very
America
sad.
can be totally self-sufficient, folks.
The kind of a country that we were from the standpoint
So can Mexico,
of industry.
but we're all being
used to
screwed.
be there. We've given it up. We've become very, very sloppy. We've had people that are political hacks making the biggest deals in the world, bigger than companies. You take these big companies, these trade deals are far bigger than these companies. And yet we don't use our great leaders, many of whom back me and many of whom back Hillary, I must say. But we don't use those people. Those are the people, these are the greatest negotiators in the world. We have the greatest business people in the world. We have to use them to negotiate our trade deals. We use political hacks.
So honest.
We use people,
there's some big people
that
supporting Hillary.
Get the position because they made a campaign contribution. And they're dealing with China and people that are very much smarter than they are.
They got 1 billion,
so
200
we
million
have to
slaves.
use our great people. But with that being said, we will create an economic machine, the likes of which we haven't seen in many decades. And people
We'll have a
Chris,
6% growth rate
go
overnight
back
if
to
he
work,
just
and they'll
matches
make
the corporate
a lot of
tax.
money, and we'll have companies that will grow and expand
Guaranteed,
and
in
start
fuego.
from new.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, first, when I hear Donald talk like that and know that his slogan is "Make America Great Again," I wonder when he thought America was great.
It's been declining,
before,
lady.
He rushes and says, you know, before you and President Obama
like a
were there.
painted-up dead
I think
body.
it's important to recognize that he has been criticizing our government for decades.
Yeah,
you know,
NAFTA
back
and
in
GATT, which is a big sign.
1987,
This is the
took
woman
out
that's
a
selling out our country.
$100,000 ad in the New York Times during the time when President Reagan was president, and basically said exactly what he just said now, that we were the laughing stock of the world. He was criticizing President Reagan.
No, he wasn't.
This is the way Donald thinks about himself, puts himself into, you know,
No,
the
he knows
middle
bad
and
deals.
says,
He
you
loves
know,
America.
I alone can fix it, as he said on the convention stage. But if you look at the debt, which is the issue you asked about, Chris,
20 trillion.
I pay for everything I'm proposing. I do not add a penny to the national debt.
Like you always say, huh?
I take that very seriously because I do think it's one of the issues we've got to come to grips with. So when I talk about
Better
how
on
we're going to pay
WikiLeaks,
for
Donald, the
education,
end.
how we're going to invest
Shadow
in
government
infrastructure,
selling us
how
out,
we're
wants to
gonna
keep us
get the
dumb.
cost of prescription
I mean, you got
drugs
her,
down, and
Donald.
a lot of the other issues
Donald's
that
done
people
B+,
talk to me about
but he's
all
got
the
a hitter
time.
now.
I've made it
More
very clear.
WikiLeaks, man.
We are going where the money is. We are going to ask the wealthy and corporations to pay their fair share. And there
The
is
big banks
no
are
evidence
lobbying for higher
whatsoever
taxes on middle class. They're
that
exempt.
will slow down or diminish our growth. In fact, I think just the opposite. We'll have what economists call middle-out growth. We've got to get back to rebuilding the middle class, the families of America.
Cloward and
That's
Piven in
where
their own
growth
documents
will
say they
come
want to
from.
shut that down.
That's why I want to invest in you. I want to invest in your family. And I think that's the smartest way to grow the economy, to make the economy fairer. And we just have a big disagreement about this. It may be because of our experiences. You know, he started off with his dad as a millionaire. I started off with my dad as a small
gangster Chicago Mafia head, yeah.
I think it's, you know, it's a difference
And you
that
represented
affects how we
pedophiles
see
in
the
court
world and what we want to do with the
Epstein and
economy.
pedophile.
Are so extraordinary, stating that they are, in fact, newsworthy.
Roger, I'm always asking the question. Spend a few minutes on whatever you think's front and center right now.
Well, I mean, look, I think, had the greatest single effect, which is to turn Trump's money back on. I know that the campaign undertook